What's up, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 58. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Brett Murdoch
What's up, party people?
and Brian Majoma.
You just missed a really good talk zombies. Seriously.
Yeah, like we're like half an hour late because we just had the most epic zombie talk ever. Pretty awesome. Okay, Manny's still on vacation. He'll be back for Throwdown 59, and Chris is watching the Mets. We're hopefully winning, so we will.
Boo! Boo on you! Y'all motherfucking New Yorkers trying to tread all over our shit. My hometown sports ball team is winning, so not everybody on the Throwdown is unhappy about this.
Uh-oh. So, yeah, so maybe Chris will, if he shows up, it'll be interesting. Will he be happy or sad? It's like Schrodinger's cat. He's in that weird state right now. We don't know.
Chris and I actually talked about it a couple times. He's pretty cool about it. It's you, Tony. You were who were dismissive when I was like, oh, the Royals can make the World Series, and you're like, whatever.
What? No, I said whatever because I don't care. Understand? Did I freeze?
No.
Okay.
No?
Yeah. Like I said, it would be cool if my home team won, but in all honesty, I don't care. It's just baseball, whatever.
Yeah, I think it encapsulates everything I need to say when I say my hometown sport ball team is doing real well.
All right. We got some good questions tonight. Some very trolly questions too, which are always fun. So let's get started with the first one. Final stage boss. Okay, I sometimes hear people say they wanted Microsoft's vision for the Xbox One and that it would have been good for us gamers. I don't get it. Could you please tell me how 24-hour check-ins, no used games, no lending games, no borrowing games, and full DRM on everything is good for us gamers? Brett, I'm looking at you, man.
Okay, well, in fairness, no used games, no lending games, and no borrowing games are all the same criticism?
Yeah.
There we go. Same criticism. Beyond that, it's the same thing we've been saying, man. Like, people will justify when they feel really passionately about something, any way to feel really passionately about that thing, and that's great that there are people who are that into Xbox, but there's no real justifying that. The only thing I could think is that the Xbox or Microsoft was going to allow you to digitally lend games for an extended period of time, but Sony already does that. Nobody really fucking cares. So I guess the short answer is there is no factual basis to that statement whatsoever. However, for people who have invested in something quite a bit and are waiting to see the returns, it's very easy to sit back and be like, oh, well, if this had changed, then this all would be different. The same kind of way. Like, if you're not really where you want to be in your life, it's really easy to sit back and be like, if I had never walked into the bar that night, I'd be driving a Corvette and have 5 Labradoodles. Like, yeah, okay, that's a great fucking thought, but there's no way to substantiate it. There's no reality in that statement, other than if you listen to exactly what Microsoft says that they would have done, and completely disregard the fact that they were giving you a sales pitch, and no sales pitch in the history of humanity has ever been 100% accurate. So I guess if Microsoft were telling the absolute truth and they just loved us gamers and really wanted to usher in a new era of gaming because we were dragging our feet because gamers hate change and gamers hate new things, so they were going to force us into the new age of gaming, and then once we were drugged there kicking and screaming, we would all turn around and say, oh my god, Microsoft, you were so right. Thank you, please take all my money, at which case Microsoft would, no, you don't need to give me all your money, just a little bit of your money would be great. Camera flash, camera flash, camera flash. But that's not fucking happening, and it was never going to fucking happen, so you're kind of comparing, you're being Johnny Quarterback 20 years after graduation right now, is the best way I can put it. It's you're reliving, like, well, what if this had changed, or what if that had changed, like, it was not a good idea at the time. They were trying to sell you a gilded piece of shit. And you're looking back at it now and being like, well, it was covered in gold. Yeah, it was still a raw fucking deal. Not just a raw fucking deal, but so much of a raw fucking deal that it single-handedly put Microsoft in second place of this console generation. Like, And I'll agree, the mob mentality can be stupid sometimes, but not so incredibly stupid as to, you know, when Microsoft, a company who at this point had a huge habit of railing their customers without any lube, when they come to you and go, bend over, I'll try not to make it hurt this time, the proper response isn't to be like, well, I'm sure they're going to be as gentle as possible. Like, no, like, and you can't sit back and say like, well, if only I had let them rape me that one time, maybe they would have married me, and I'd be living in a big house right now. Like, fucking yeah, yeah. If whatever, like if we could all just live on possibilities and dreams and cars ran on nacho farts and whatever, there's no point in even continuing this line of thought because it's not real and it's not going to happen. It never was going to happen. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I still understand the whole. It would have been good for us gamers if we just accepted what Microsoft wanted. That's the part I don't get. Like,
Because that's what Microsoft said. Because they said it'll be good for gamers and it'll be good for the industry, and they failed to substantiate it too.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
nobody ever supported this argument at all. Like I don't even mean like they didn't support it badly or they supported it badly or gave unfactual support statements. There was never any support that this would be good for gamers other than the wild hypothesis of how this might change things for the developers and for all the people other than gamers.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem though. Like when they put that out there, it wasn't like, "Hey, this is for gamers." It was like, "Hey, this is what's good for us. This is what's good for our side." It's like, "What about
No,
us? What about what's good for us?" You
not
know?
even their side. They're other customers, and that's the thing that like fucking boggles my mind that we all forget. We are not Microsoft's only customers, and I don't even mean that in the sense that they have other products. I mean they have fucking shareholders. The
Yeah,
whole point of a publicly traded business is the fucking shareholders. You know what they care about more than their bottom line, more than their fucking profit? Their goddamn shareholders. If they can get a ton of people to buy stock in their company and raise the value of their stock by taking a huge hit, if a company could drive itself straight into the red, just straight into a shitload of debt, and their shareholders would give them a standing ovation, you can be sure as shit they would do that. They don't give a fuck whether they sell you consoles or not. They don't give a fuck about their profit margins, except for how it makes their shareholders feel. So you have to understand with everything Microsoft does, or everything Sony does too, or everything I'm pretty sure Nintendo's publicly traded. Nintendo does too.
yeah, they are.
They are not just trying to please you. They're trying to please their primary customers while trying not to piss off their secondary customers, and that's you. And quite
Yeah,
frankly, I'm a little pissed being relegated into the back seat on this whole deal. Like I thought this was a deal between me and a company who I'm going to use Nintendo as an example here, who I grew to love and fucking respect. And then I became an adult and I realized shit doesn't work that way. But you know what? It ought to. And I'm sorry if I'm going to hold you all to a higher fucking standard. I'm sorry if I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on the way that I was fucking raised that shit should be. If you are a good company and you treat your customers with respect and you offer a quality product, then you deserve to be supported. Otherwise, you fucking don't. So quit trying to fucking make me fall in love with a crap product or an ad campaign or force me to buy something or hold my video games or my friends hostage, and just make a good fucking product that I want to put my money behind and I want to endorse. And the thing that's great about that is we're swinging that way with crowdfunding, with the internet, with forum boards, with user reviews, with all of this shit. Like everybody slowly, we're getting more power back, and we need to utilize it.
yeah, man. I don't really have too much to add to this because this is why I picked on you first. I'm like, Brett's gonna say exactly what I've been thinking. None of this shit would have been good for us. This is why when people heard that, I remember when I heard, I'm like, what the fuck, are they serious? Like, especially the 24-hour thing. It's like, guys, not everybody has the internet. How the fuck are you gonna check in? Oh, actually, no, they gave us that answer. Buy an Xbox 360. That's how you get. It's fucking ridiculous. Brian, how would all this stuff have been good for gamers?
Well, funny thing is that Steam has most of that in it, but in a far less intrusive way. Like with Steam, like you can't trade games. Yeah, you can't trade games that you have in your inventory, but you can trade gifts that you have. So it's slightly different, but still the same principle. Like once you bought a game and you played it, then you can't really trade it. So the whole used game market is gone. Like there's like check-in. I think at least once every 28 days, if I remember correctly. I'm not too sure on that, but long story short, it just wouldn't be good for gamers. And I hate people that use that line that gamers hate change and all that stuff. It's like we don't hate change. We don't like negative change. Like
Yeah,
there's two
negative
types of
change.
change. There's positive change, which is change for the good, of course, and then change for the bad. Change for the bad is bad for obvious reasons, and we want the change that's for the good. That's why when we see certain games that have changed, we're like, okay, this is terrible. But yet other games change and they get praised for it because it's positive change and negative change, and some people just don't seem to understand that.
That's like saying like somebody beat you up and took your lunch money, and they're like, "Well, what's the matter? Don't you like change?" I'm like, I understand I went from having money to not having money, and that changes my situation. But that's not the crux of the point here. The crux of the point is I had something taken from me.
Exactly.
That makes me angry. And I don't mean to railroad Brian, but the one thing I do want to point out is I think a lot of the heat and a lot of the passion you get from gamers at this point is, especially gamers about my age, like. I've had shit taken from me. Like, I've had people fucking bully me. I've lived an entire life of people telling me, oh, you can't game for this reason, or oh, you have to give me this for this reason. Of people trying to, like, take shit away, hold shit hostage, tell me that it's not okay. And you know what? I've never fucking listened, and I've always yelled at the person doing it. So you know what? This is no different. You know, but I think that's why gamers are such a vocal audience.
Yeah, man, we won't take shit. You know. All right. Next question from Final Stage Boss. I hate it when two frequently used actions are mapped to the same button, and you try to do one action but end up doing the other. For example, in Metal Gear Solid 5, climbing and Fultoning are both triangle, and I sometimes climb things when I'm trying to Fulton it. And in Mass Effect, running and cover are both mapped to the X button, so when I try to run, I keep getting stuck to walls going over. Does this annoy you like it annoys me? Yes, it does. And since we're talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, I hate when I'm trying to get into a Jeep and I Fulton it out instead because it's triangles. Like, come on, man, what is this shit? And yes, I had that same problem with Mass Effect. I'm running and then I just go on a wall. I'm like, no, I don't want to cover. I want to run. You know, like I understand there's a limited amount of buttons and stuff, but at the same time, you can't just map two completely different actions through the same button. I forgot what it was exactly with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but they do the same thing. It's like the same like button, but two different actions. It's like you want to do one thing, and then something else comes out instead. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, I hated it. Don't like it. Brian, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Like one of my gripes with the Mass Effect multiplayer was that the run, the heal, and the get cover button were all the same.
Oh man,
So
yes.
whenever your teammate went down by cover, and like next to like one of those like giant robots, then like you just screwed because like you you know that you're just gonna die because like
Yeah.
would you run away from it? Would you go to cover? Would you heal him? You never knew. It was a gamble and a half, and it pissed me off. But then again, the whole point, well, sorry, the whole problem is that it's the controller's fault. Like there's just not enough buttons.
Yeah,
That's why you get
exactly.
certain controllers, or no, certain games that have like modifiers to them. So it's like, okay, you press this button in conjunction with this button, and this happens. So I guess the issue there is just the controls have just not been thought out as well.
Yeah, because there's some
Um,
games that are pretty complicated and still have, button layouts that work,
but
but
yeah,
sometimes, yeah,
like in Dragon's Dogma, you essentially have a maximum of I think 10, no, sorry, not 10, 8 different attacks which are bound to the four what's it called?
with
Not the
face
D-pad.
with the
Yeah,
face buttons.
yeah, the face buttons, but then they're modified with the R1 button, I
Yeah,
think.
see, there you
So
go.
at least that actually works out because it's like, hey, you can switch up attacks between like your main, your primary, and that sort of stuff. And that works. But most times they're just like, hey, let's just bound shit together and have it go. Another problem that I have is with GTA 5 and the fact that like that touchpad acts as like pretty much everything. You know, you use that to access like your main, or, sorry, like your in-game menu, and also to change your perspective, which is just terrifying. Because if you're like in a mission and you like get some snacks down you, and you accidentally like don't hold in for long enough, then voila, you've now switched perspective, and you have to go to all like four of them to get back to the one that you're on
Yeah,
before.
That's
and then
bullshit.
snack again. By that time, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's just that level of thinking that just boggles my mind and annoys me.
Yeah. Brett, get in here, man. What do you say?
I don't really have a whole lot of opinion other than it's a bullshit mechanic that I don't think needs used. My favorite game is the way that they work around that is they'll just use the trigger buttons to open up a R1 plus any of your face buttons or L1 plus any of your face
Yeah.
buttons opens up a
Yeah.
contextual menu. So I don't really think there's a good reason to um, map things to the same button, other than if you're talking about, well, it's still map text. I'm just holding R1 down. Then learn when you're pressing R1 and when you're not pressing R1, and it won't be a problem. But if we're talking about, it's just the whole press X to contextually do everything in a fucking game, yeah, it's stupid, it's retarded, and I feel like it's lazy.
Kind of, yeah.
But let's be honest, a lot of game designers don't really think about or care about your interaction input method. That's why we lived for years with not having dual trigger games. Like, we had dual sticks, we just didn't use one stick for camera and one stick for movement because nobody fucking took the time to sit down and think about that shit until Halo did. And then you played Halo and you're like, oh my god. That's the tagline for Halo Combat Evolved was so relevant because the first time you picked up Halo you're like, what have I been doing all my life? What these other shooter games are terrible. Like, and instantly, like, you could not play another one of your shooters anymore. Like, you could not go back and play GoldenEye anymore because you're just like, what the fuck is this? None of this feels right anymore. And then you go back to Halo and you're like, oh yeah, I'm strafing, I'm sidestepping you motherfucker. Look at how smooth this is. Just duck and shoot, duck and shoot. So like I use that as an example of you could be stuck with a really dick controller setup for years and years and years and years just because that's how everybody's doing it. And then somebody can come along and be like, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? And boom, you're off like a shot. So I don't think that it has to be that way. I just don't think that people have cared enough to really fix that problem yet.
Yeah, great segue for the last question, by the way. Thank you for that. And it's there used to be a time that no one would dare release a game around the same time as Halo. Do you think that this is still the case? It was called the Halo effect. My question is the Halo effect still a real thing? Short answer, no, it isn't. It obviously isn't because people are releasing games around Halo. No one's really talking about Halo anymore. Halo, okay, we talked about this on the last episode. Brett, you weren't here, but I know you can vouch for this. Around Halo 3, nobody was fucking with Halo. That was the biggest game released like ever. Like Halo 2 and 3 were like you couldn't like walk anywhere without seeing Halo just plaster everywhere. You couldn't turn on TV without seeing Halo. It was monstrous. Like, you're gonna release your game around Halo, you're fucking dumb. Move that shit. Now, what's interesting is the Halo effect has been released has been replaced by the Call of Duty effect. Remember when Call of Duty was like that? Was like, oh shit, Call of Duty's coming out that day. Move the dates around, guys. But even that's starting to diminish too because next week Call of Duty comes out. But what else comes out next week? Fallout and Tomb Raider. So even that effect is wearing off too. I think you know what? Just me going through this. You think maybe the quote unquote effect is gone now? Like of certain big games?
No, dude. It's there's a whole marketplace of Notice Halo, bread and butter game that you play with your friends, game that you play online. Call of Duty, bread and butter game.
Yeah.
Play between other games, game that you play with your buddies, game that you play online. Destiny, bread and butter game that you play with your buddies, game that you play online, game that you play between other games. It's there's essentially, and I hate to say this, but this is proof positive that Nintendo's Blue Ocean strategy does work. You don't have to be the #1 cinematic or narrative game because everybody's vying for that spot. Instead, these incredibly successful franchises focus on, I'll be everybody's second game. So the thing is, like, you may play Final Fantasy, you may play Uncharted, you may be playing Assassin's Creed, one of these high production, high value games, but you're still gonna go back and want to play a little bit of multiplayer between there. And Gears of War was the same way. World of Warcraft was the same way. There is a default fallback game that everybody likes to go back and play. Mine is Dark Souls. I'm going back and playing Dark Souls right now.
Yeah,
But
but the thing is, you're talking about like default backup games. Call of Duty and Halo were not default backup games back in the day. They were the fucking game. Like you, like
they
again,
were
going back to
the
the
multiplayer game. Halo was the multiplayer game. So if you wanted to play online or you wanted to play with your friends, you played Halo. And part of the reason that you played Halo was due to its popularity, and part of its popularity was due to the fact that it was a backup game. You see, it's a vicious cycle. It's the same reason
I see
Microsoft
what you're saying, but
maintains such a stranglehold over the last generation because where you're going to play the most social game, where the most social people are. Where the most social people on the most popular game. So it's going to be really hard to have an environment as robust as the most popular one. And if people are going to a place, like it's if you're going to a party, you're probably going to go to a party with a lot of people. And I'm not saying you, so don't argue with me, Tony, because I know you're more trendy than that. But like if people are like, I want to go to a bumping party where everybody's hanging out, and everybody's having a good time. Well, I'm going to go to where there's 100 people as opposed to where there are 10 people because there's more of a chance I'm going to have a good time there. True, those 10 people could be really cool 10 people, but I don't really know that, and they probably all know each other since there's only 10 of them. So you go to the more robust, more casual community because you don't want to be, stuck in a lobby with 12 other people that play this game, 40 hours a week and enjoy stomping your ass because you're a
yeah,
casual. So you kind of migrate towards the biggest pond. And I think a lot of these games maintained their superiority because they were the biggest pond. But I don't think you have a clear winner right now other than Destiny. And Destiny is the thing that everybody's playing. It is the kind of the backup game. And don't get me wrong, like when I say it's everybody's backup game, people were fucking excited for the new expansion. People are
yeah, it
looking
went
forward
nuts.
to. Yeah, that doesn't mean that people don't love it. It means it's a game that they like so much and hits all the right boxes that even after they've cleared their plate, they can fucking just lick that plate forever because they still enjoy it and it still does everything that they need. And a lot of that comes down to multiplayer games, which is a reason that you see these franchises being huge multiplayer franchises so much. Halo was the biggest multiplayer franchise back in the day. It's what everybody played. It was like Street Fighter when I was a kid. You went over to somebody's house, cracked open a bottle of whiskey, and started playing Halo because that's what you did. There wasn't Call of Duty. There wasn't a thing. There wasn't a whole lot to do with five guys in a room other than sit around and play Halo. And the last person to lose doesn't get to play the next match, and everybody laughs at him. So like it incorporated itself into social gatherings really well. So it hit all these nice little boxes. And so after it hits all these nice little boxes, and you've sat around and you've played Halo and played Halo and played Halo and played Halo and played Halo with your friends, by yourself, online, in tournaments, whatever. The new one comes out, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna buy the new Halo. That's why I bought Halo 2. Like I spent so much time playing Halo that I was just like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna buy Halo 2. Because if I get half the enjoyment I got out of Halo, fuck it, you don't even need to sell me on it. But the problem with me became that each generation became a little bit more watered down. Like the first Halo was fucking revolutionary, so that's why everybody was playing it. The second one added some really interesting things, and the third one you're like, yeah, okay, I mean this is still great, but this feels a lot like the same stuff. And then after that, you're just like, it's just they're just cloning the game now. I'm tired.
All
So
right, so you would definitely say the Halo effect is no longer in effect.
oh yeah, I would absolutely say the Halo effect is no longer in effect. It's been dominated by the Destiny effect.
Yeah, it was Destiny now, and before that, Call of Duty. Something is always going to come out and dethrone the current king.
If
Brian, what do you say, man? Halo effect.
Doesn't exist as much as it used to. It's still there, but nowhere near as prevalent. It's not the de facto shooter like that everyone says you must have, because one, there's just so much other stuff out there to play. That's the main problem.
Yeah,
Because people haven't realized that games, like the majority of games, just tend to stick around for a lot longer than people think. It's like just now, I just got my platinum for Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PS3.
oh shit.
And then the last platinum was to complete a custom um, like lobby with some friends. So there were still people playing that game when I played it, like a full lobby of like 16 people. That game came out in 2000 and what? It was The year before Tomb Raider came out, whatever year that was,
Oh,
the same year
2007.
that that Dishonored came out.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's still people playing that game on the PS3. So definitely games
Actually,
there
no,
are like a
Tomb
lot.
Raider, that would be 2010 then, because Tomb Raider was 2011. But yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah. So it just seems like games. People just tend to forget that once a game is out of the public eye, it doesn't mean that it's dead. It's just out of the public eye. There's still people just playing it. So by that, there's just a lot more. There's just a high saturation of games in general, and games just don't have enough time to shine, or they just don't grab enough attention. Because someone can sit there and say, "Okay, this game is coming out and it's new, but I'm enjoying playing this game. I'll check it out later." Like not everyone buys a game like day one.
Hey,
So
Brian.
I guess that people are just more relaxed and they just don't care enough. But definitely the Halo effect is no longer in an effect.
Do you think
It's
that happens more in PC? Like personally, I see more games or games lasting longer or having a longer shelf life on PC. Would you agree with that?
uh, so that's the thing. If you'd asked me this last week, I would have said yes. But now with the whole thing and like knowing that people are still playing Need for Speed Most Wanted, it's kind of like I'm not too sure whether or not it's mainly PC, but it seems to be most prevalent on PC, judging by
Yeah.
the Steam usage.
By the way, I need
Like,
to give a quick shout out to one of my Twitter friends, Death Strike Virus. This guy has been playing Unreal Tournament since 2004.
oh yeah,
That lets
I
you,
still
yeah,
play
that lets
the
you know right
original
there.
one.
Yeah, he is still playing Unreal Tournament, man. So that lets you know right there. But yeah, I think you're right, Brian. There's probably guys. I mean, remember when they were shutting down the servers for Halo 2? People got fucking pissed. And that was
Oh yeah.
years after the game came out. They're like, we're still playing it. What the fuck are you doing? So yeah, pretty interesting. All right, let's move on here. Okay, Killax. Do you think Sony is focusing more on VR than they did the Move, or will it flop too, like Vita, Eye, Move, Camera, Touchpad, Six Axis, etc.? You forgot the PSP Go, by the way. That's another Sony failure. Sony has a bad
Oh,
track record,
and the
man.
PS TV as well.
PSTV as well. Yeah, Sony has a very, very bad track record when it comes to fucking peripherals. So, but yeah, so yeah, are they promoting it more than the Move VR? I guess because they actually have real games to show for it. But at the same time, this is Sony, and this is probably why Brett's apprehensive about Sony handling VR because look at their track record. They do shit with fucking peripherals. So I guess they are marketing VR more, but I don't know. Like I said, I kind of don't care, but yeah, I guess they are. Brian, what do you say?
What was the question again?
The question was, is Sony promoting PlayStation VR more than they promoted the Move?
Um, I'd say they are slightly, but either way, it doesn't matter because it will fail because of how Sony just handles things. Because if you notice with Sony, and Tony will like this, they have a trend of doing stupid shit whenever they release a new like peripheral set. Like take any new peripheral that they've ever released, right? And in that same year, those had like a bunch of first parties that integrate that into it. Like example, all the PS4 launch titles had that touchpad integration for no reason. The year that the Move came out was that there was Mag, there was SOCOM, there was Killzone, all had the Move controls, you know. So
Yeah,
I'm guessing that the same thing will happen with VR, and that's the problem. It's like Sony doesn't seem to understand that you can't just shove a new toy into like existing games and expect it just to work fine. Games need to be built around it to work,
exactly.
and then that's why like none of these things have ever taken off. Because I remember that I think a couple of weeks back on the Throwdown Your Questions, someone asked why hasn't more companies been using their touchpad on their DualShock 4? Simple reason because they don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah,
Not even like the first parties are giving a shit about it, and they're first parties, so they have no excuse to say, oh, Xbox doesn't have it or whatnot. It's just because like no one gives a shit because Sony said to them like, okay, this thing is coming out. You make a game that has this in it, and that's it. And then they do that, and people are like, the thing doesn't work properly. Like it's not, it doesn't feel right. And I think that that's going to be the same issue with VR. We'll get a whole bunch of games that will have VR with it, like Tekken 7 for some odd fucking reason, and people be like, "This is stupid. Why is this here?" But then again, you have people like Digital who released Gran Turismo, and that is a game that's built in essence or by proxy with VR in mind because it's first-person cockpit view. That's just VR, just in a nutshell. So I think that they are promoting it more, but it doesn't matter since the same thing will happen. It will just be let's see. I should make another prediction. Within a year, no, after a year, like the amount of VR games from like Sony in general will just tank. That's what I say. Because we've seen the same thing happen with the touchpad, which I said to them, like, or I said to everyone, like a year after the PS4's out, the touchpad will barely be touched, ironically.
Yeah, well, it is touch. It's just a glorified button. That's all it is now. That's all it is, because the whole shit is just so imprecise, you know?
Well, I can tell you exactly one reason why it's just useless. Because the problem is your thumbs. Like, you touch the touchpad with your thumbs, and the problem with that is that there are these things called joysticks that are right there. No, sorry, thumbsticks, which your thumb go on top of. And the problem with the touchpad is that you need to take your fingers off your thumb pads to go and touch the touchpad.
Yeah.
And what are the two main ways of controlling any game these days? Thumbsticks. Like, did they just not see that? Like, you have to take your fingers off the two main control methods of your controller to touch this arbitrary button that's just there.
Now you have to do like a weird thing, like, you know, use your thumb here and then somehow move your finger here.
Exactly. Like, you know what would have been a lot more useful? Use the back pad, like they're doing the Vita. Since like the back, there's always like at least two fingers there, and you can do like your normal swipe up, down, left, right, like fine. But no, they chose to put it at the front and make it just obtrusive as all hell. Like, it's ergonomically just doesn't work. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. Brett, what do you say? Are they promoting VR more than they did the Move? Uh-oh.
I don't know that they are, and I don't know that they necessarily need to. I think it's a different beast. Like, I see what you did there in the question. Like, I would ask you
History of failures.
Well, what on that list is something that consumers have asked for?
I think VR is the only one that people have asked for. Then no one cared about a lot of other shit.
Yeah, like we have a long and rich history of engineers who apparently don't actually play video games, sitting back and be like, you know what a neat input method would be? And then ham-fisting that into some hardware and then giving it to developers and being like, find a way to make this fun. Like, that is the opposite way of which you should approach a problem. Like, that's not... Like, you don't go to the grocery store and being like, here's lemon and a vanilla, and then you cram the lemon like into the vanilla and you squeeze the bottle until like comes out the pores, and then you go home and you slap it on the counter and like, there, make something delicious with this. Like, that's you look at your problem and you either say, okay, what is my problem and how do I solve it? Or you look at what people are asking for and say, okay, well, how do I make that with what I have, and maybe how do I enhance that? This is the first time, other than maybe the PSP, and I was one of those people, I wanted Sony to make a handheld, and I bought the handheld, and I have no idea why the handheld failed. Just other than the fact that like nobody fucking bought it. Nintendo had a stranglehold on the handheld market at the time, and there wasn't a good excuse for it. So yeah, it may follow that, and they may actually fail in their approach to VR, but the thing to remember is I don't think the approach to VR is going to fail. So even if they don't make money, somebody will be, and Sony will see those people making money, and they will continue to try and find a way to capitalize off of that. They're not going to let a burgeoning multi-billion-dollar industry spring up around their ears and slowly erode their customer base without trying to at least jump on that fucking bandwagon. So.
You think they're just going to copy whatever Oculus Rift does?
And it wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea. Like, they have an infrastructure. Like, that's their whole point, is that they provide a service. They have the service infrastructure in place. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have somebody else like design their whole VR fucking setup application approach kind of thing. Because they don't need to do better, they just need to do as good, comparable.
Yeah. All right. Next question. What other post-launch character would you like to see Capcom bring to Street Fighter V? Brian, I'm going to you first because I know what your answer is already. You said this on the last show.
Blanca, easy. I'm just waiting for Blanca, and then I'll buy it.
There you go, man. I'm waiting for the. He's gonna be announced. Obviously, fucking Akuma. Give me Akuma. That's all. That's all I gotta say. Give me fucking Akuma. I got the man's fucking. You can't see it too well, but yeah, Akuma. Give me that shit.
What do you call it again? The Chinese symbol?
The Japanese symbol, yeah, for immortality and fire and a bunch of other shit. It's fucking Akuma's shit on his back. That's what it is.
Fucking
what
does it actually mean? Just out of question, because I never.
It literally means like immortality and fire and sky. It means a bunch of shit. I'm like, when I was looking through, I'm like, okay, I don't find any of these things offensive. I'll go with that because it could have been meant something really funky. It's like, no, I don't care how cool it looks. I'm not putting that shit on me. I know some people they go get like Chinese tattoos or whatever, and they the Chinese guys write some fucked up shit on it. So yeah, I didn't get into that. Brett, what about you? Post-launch characters for Street Fighter V. You don't care, do you?
I have no opinion on this situation.
All right, fair enough. Kind of related to one of our other questions here, but we'll get to that in a bit. I never heard you guys' thoughts on the latest Star Wars trailer. So what do we think about Star Wars? It looks cool. I'm down with it, man. It's interesting where they're going with this. It's like it seems like these Sith are like people that are trying to be like the Sith, but they're not all together there. Like you saw like that lightsaber, like the stream coming out of it's kind of wrong. And the fact that you have like that halberd that's like has little lightsabers coming out of it's like, yeah, you're probably not a professional building something that dangerous. So it's kind of interesting where they're going with the story.
That's because that particular Sith built his lightsaber himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's it's like actually no, they're all built themselves, but it just seems like that's the perfect thing. It's like these Sith are trying to be like Sith, and they don't really have the past knowledge, so they just have to do DIY, do it themselves and stuff.
I don't know if that's substantiated, but I can see how you get that impression.
Yeah, again, I'm just wondering what people are saying. Like, oh yeah, like something's up with these Sith. They're not 100% like together, like and they point out to the lightsaber. Look at the stream on lightsaber. It's not very focused like it's supposed to be and stuff. And that's compared to other lightsabers in the actual rest of the trailer, which are like normal lightsabers that you're used to.
Yeah. I specifically got into an argument with my boss about this because I work at Dark Side Tattoo, so
yes.
He's a bit of a Star Wars fan, and he assured me with all of his knowledge that it actually has something to do with that particular Sith. Like he made his own blade. I'm not sure if that means like I know Jedi construct their own blades, but I think like he actually like forged his own blade. Like he made the parts and everything, or something like that, or he hewed the crystal like by hand.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was about to say because all Jedi make their own blade.
So he did something more than what normal Jedi do. Like he made his somehow to a greater extent. And it's that that his blade releases more raw power. It's less refined. Which if you dig into the the Star Wars, the stuff that isn't canon anymore, there's a lot of instances of that, like some of blades manifesting themselves differently based upon the will and the skill of the user and things like that. There's also a fair amount that says that the blade shape is tempered by the Force. And basically, it's the user's will that shapes the blade. So that if there was somebody who was, incredibly dangerously aggressive / mentally unhinged, that they may not be able to keep their blade quite as steady as other people because it would just be pure raw power. But there's regardless of all this, what I understand is there's a very good reason for this, and it doesn't have necessarily to do with the fact that they're not true Sith.
Yeah, again, we don't know, but it's Star Wars. I'm excited. And then I'm excited for the fact that J.J. Abrams is like, hey, we're gonna try to use as little CG as possible. They want to try to keep it like the old movies, a lot of practical shit, sets, which is always fun. This is why I'm really looking forward to Rogue One, because that's supposed to be even more like bare bones than the normal movie. That's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, man, Star Wars. I mean, there's not really the reason we didn't talk about it is because there's not really much more to say. Star Wars is going to be awesome. We're going to go see it. Simple as that. So I'm definitely excited.
I had my tickets
Yeah,
3 minutes after they went on sale.
yeah. See, there you go,
Oh.
man. That lets you know right there. So Brett, I'm pretty sure you're pretty excited for it.
Fuck yeah, dude! I stood in line. I'm seeing it at 7 p.m. that Thursday, and then again at 12:30 a.m. Thursday night / Friday morning.
Yes, there you go. So you won't be on Throwdown that day for a good reason.
Yes, I will be gone seeing the Star Wars movie. Y'all can fuck yourselves.
Yes.
Sorry, I love you, but yeah.
Oh man, hey, it's just like when we did, like when Avengers came out, we started to throw it down like an hour and a half late. The fans understood. It's like, dude, we're watching Avengers, man. This shit is real now. This is not a drill. Brian, what about you, man?
It's Star Wars. Like so much that kind of said. Like it's like anyone that's excited for Star Wars just is excited for Star Wars. There's no real explanation involved in it. It's Star Wars. Of course, I'll watch it. Like just because the first trilogy, not the first. The first three were just shit compared to like the rest. So I need something like wipe the taste out of my mouth. And
This question seems like, how do you guys feel about birthdays? Like,
That's what I'm. Yeah.
like they're great.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, because there was a new Star Wars trailer that's released 3 weeks ago, I had it in the show. And it's just like, what else are we gonna say other than we're just gonna have a circle jerk? Like there wasn't really anything of substance. So it's like, oh, let me just take that out of there, But yeah, dude, we're fucking excited. Star Wars, man, come on.
The only thing that needs said is new Star Wars, not made by George Lucas.
Yes.
So, and I've had this heated argument. I'm not gonna spell it all out or go over the finer details, but the basis of it is, now that George Lucas isn't here, the shit is going to be awesome, because historically, Star Wars minus George Lucas is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because usually with most properties, you're like, hey, the director isn't there. This is going to be bad. With this case, you're like, hey, the director's not there. This is going to be great. Because you're right. Look at the expanded universe. The expanded universe is fucking amazing. Who's not involved? Wayne,
Yeah,
come on. Come on.
Like, he didn't even write most of the original trilogy.
Yeah, see, there you go.
He had like a 72-page outline that he handed to the real writers, in which case they were like, we're going to take half of this out, which means there's like 30 pages of good material here. And that was the original seed that created Star Wars. Like, good on you for stealing a bunch of ideas from old westerns and samurai movies and putting them all together. Like, but let's be very honest here. You were not Wozniak. You are Jobs in this scenario, and that's what you are. Like, you took a bunch of good ideas that other people had, and you put them together, and you marketed the fuck out of it, and then you got more talented people to fill in all the gaps. Like, kudos, well done, well done. That is a leader right there, but that is not a creator. That is not a creative, and that is not a fucking genius or a prodigy or anything. Like, most of what Star Wars was made by the community. Its fame was made by the community. Its hype was made by the community, and a lot of its extended universe and support was made by the community. Books written by people who grew up with the original Star Wars. Like, it's been a generational thing now. It's the same way, like, you can't attribute Magic the Gathering to, like, or not Magic the Gathering, like Dungeons and Dragons to any one thing now. Like, so many people of ridiculous amount of talent have put into that pile that it's almost like a public works at this point.
Yeah, and then just to add weight to what you said, what happened when we got George Lucas unfiltered, when he had complete creative control? We had the prequels. That says it all right there. The original trilogy, he still had people going, no, that's a bad idea. Take that shit out. Take that shit out. And then for Return of the Jedi, he had more creative control, and we got fucking Ewoks. So there you go, George Lucas. Thank you for creating the universe, but it's not yours anymore. You fuck up your own universe. It's ours.
Look what he did to Indiana Jones when people couldn't tell him no anymore.
To be fair, that was directed by Steven Spielberg, but yeah. All right. So yeah, Star Wars, big thumbs up. It's going to be insane. right? And he just leaves this comment at the end. He goes, "I'm happy to see a black face with the crew other than Chris. Welcome back, Brian."
Hey man,
So it's nice to be back.
I will wear blackface if you want, but I don't think that's gonna make anybody happy.
Yeah, I don't do that. But you must have really loved Throwdown episode 58. It was like I was the lightest skinned guy there. It's like it was those black guys all over the place. Manny wasn't there either and stuff. What I should have done is this. I should have been like, all right, solidarity with you guys. Oh man, so yeah, Brian, people are happy to have you back, man. All right.
Hey, Tony, I thought of you the other day when I was looking at some form and had an ethnicity checkbox that said Hispanic/white, and I was like, that's the one Tony would check.
Yeah, I mean, dude, here's the funny thing. If you look at my birth certificate, it says Blanco, because I am technically I'm a white Hispanic. You know, look at me. You know. Oh man, it's hilarious. But I'm not Caucasian. That's a different. Race is weird because technically I hit all the like check marks to be a European, right? Think about it. I'm of Italian and Spanish ancestry. That makes me European. But since I was born in Dominican Republic, I'm Hispanic. I don't even have any native blood in me. They were all wiped out by the time my families came through. You know, the only like ethnic stuff I have in there is black. That's it. You know, because somebody fucked a slave or something.
Oh, dude.
All right. Next question. What? It's true, man. Actually, no, we didn't have slaves. We just had, servants. But let's just be real. Where were they? Let's just be honest. Come on now. All right. Not my dad's side of the family. Fucking racist as shit, man. I could go. I'll stop right now. All right. I found the street. Okay, this is from my man Gorito. I found the Street Fighter V and Tekken reveal super corny from Paris Games Week. Does this just advertise more that Japanese developers are out of touch with how to appeal to Western audiences, or do you have different feelings about those reveals? I think he's talking about the way they were actually revealed to the public, not the actual games themselves. Again, I kind of can't talk about it because I didn't watch Paris Games Week. I just saw it on Twitter. So to me, I just saw like games being like knocked out. I'm like, oh shit, cool. And Chris is joining us. Now, Chris, before you go on, I need to ask you the question. Did the Mets win?
It's in the 12th inning, man.
Another one?
Yes.
Seriously?
I can't take it. The Royals came back in the 9th, tied it up, and now we're in 12. It's just back and forth. I can't.
Wow.
It's like game one all over again. I'm gonna have an aneurysm if I keep watching this.
Dude, the Royals are the trolliest team ever. Be like, oh, you've been ahead for 8 innings? That's fine. Let's just tie it up in the bottom of the 9th.
Brett, you know how we play Dark Souls and we're like, fuck you, Dark Souls? Now replace Dark Souls with Mustakis. And I chant that concept, fuck you, Mustakis. God damn it! Like, son of a bitch. Okay. All right.
Jeez, 12 innings. That's insane.
I had to get away from it. I can't watch anymore. I can't take it anymore.
The first game ran 14 innings.
Jeez.
Like it was almost cruel to the people watching. Like even the fans were like, "Yeah, go. Let's fucking get this wrapped up."
All right. So did anyone actually see Paris Games Week? See it like while it was broadcast live? Okay, Brian. So do you find the way those games were revealed to be corny?
Funny enough, it's the first time I've laughed in a conference since like 3 years ago. Honestly, I was in tears right here because it was done like so well. Because essentially, what's the game for the dude for Capcom?
Ono, fucking Ono.
Ono, that's it. Yeah. So he comes on stage and says, if you guys can just forget about the last couple of hours where people just leaked like the data about like what we're going to like announce, then that'd be great. So he does that, and then of course he announces the characters, and then he says, okay, we have one more new character to announce for Street Fighter V, and then it's the guy for Tekken. I can't ever remember his name. What's the guy, the director for Tekken?
Oh, Harada?
Yeah. He announces him like doing like the Ryu pose in Tekken 5, like on screen, and I was just laughing. And of course they do like the whole like prepared thing of what are you doing here, like that type of banter, and it just generally felt like a comedy sketch. Bad comedy sketch, yes, but I thought it was entertaining. It made games seem fun again, rather than all just depressing and seriousness, which I can't stand.
Nothing wrong with that, That's good. So
I didn't say it was corny. I just found it entertaining. Like I laughed. So they did something right with me.
Yeah, Chris, did you get to see it? Chris is missing it. Yeah.
No. I actually I didn't see any of it. I was just reading about it online.
Okay. Brett, did you get to see it?
Nope.
All right, so we're gonna go with what Brian said then, because I didn't get to see it. I just saw it. I'm like, oh shit, Street Fighter V, awesome, let's go. Tekken, cool. Like, to me, it was the only thing. I said this on Throwdown. Like, people complain about the way these games are presented, but I didn't get to see any of that. I just saw the transcript. I'm like, oh shit, they're announcing that. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, shit. I didn't get to see how badly it's put together, but I'm gonna go with Brian. That sounds like fun to me. I mean, anytime Ono is on stage, you're gonna get something good. It's fucking Ono.
And he had like those weird alien ears with like balls on springs.
The diddly bobs, man. That's what I call them, the diddly bobs. Fucking awesome. Ono's the man. I love Ono. He's great.
And also, I have to preface this with I'm a massive Tekken fanboy, and seeing those two on stage, I was hoping for a Tekken Cross Street Fighter announcement. But
yes, that was not the first. Yeah, that's not the first time we've seen them together. Obviously, for Street Fighter versus Tekken, they were together in like a video and stuff. It was pretty fun. You remember that? It was pretty funny.
That was good. So I was hoping like, yes, Tekken Cross Street Fighter. Like, come on, just something. It's like, oh no, Tekken 7 with VR. Yeah, I can live with that, but I want the other one.
Yeah. All right. Next question by my man Fern Gully. All right. He goes. I love this question. If you could have Rocksteady or Naughty Dog make a third-person action game based on an 80s or 90s cartoon character, which would you choose? He gives us some examples: Thundercats, Silverhawks, Voltron, Bravestar, Cops, Scooby-Doo, Defenders of the Earth, Danger Mouse, The Real Ghostbusters, etc. He already named it right there. The first one, Thundercats. Imagine an awesome Thundercats game, man. That would be. But the thing is, Thundercats. A lot of these games they made, I don't think Naughty Dog or Rocksteady should handle them. I think Platinum Games would actually make a pretty cool Thundercats game, man. So I know I'm altering your question a little bit. But the thing is, I'm gonna go with Platinum Games Thundercats. That would be fucking amazing. And let's have an amalgamation of the old Thundercats and the new Thundercats. I really like what the new Thundercats are doing. They're building up the Cat Society and stuff. But I like.
God, yes, thank God.
Fucking amazing. The
Have you gone back and watched old Thundercats? Like, I love Thundercats, but don't go back and watch old Thundercats.
All right, Brett. I'm going to tell you a story right now. And this is when I was 15 years old. This is literally 20 years ago. All right, so Cartoon Network, they announced like Thundercats. We're bringing Thundercats back. I'm like, oh my fucking god! I used to love Thundercats when I was a kid. This is gonna be insane. I was talking to Manny. We both lost our fucking mind. Like, Thundercats, dude, it's coming back. So Thundercats starts playing, right? That intro, we go nuts. Oh shit, Thundercats, man! Remember Thundercats? So fucking awesome. This is great. Then the show starts. So I'm like, and then by the end, I'm like, dude. Thundercats sucks.
Yeah, I remember going back and watching. It's like, I think I might hate Lion-O. Like, he's kind of a dick, and he's super boring. And beyond that, I'm pretty sure Mumra's retarded, and they're just picking on him at this point.
Yeah. So, Brett, to answer your question, I said this 20 years ago when I was 15. 35-year-old man? No, I'm not. But. Like, what was it, 5 years ago, right? When they had
the reboot was good.
The reboot was fucking awesome. I love the whole class system. It's like the lions or the cats were at the top of society, and they kept all the other animals down. I'm like, this is cool. I like where they're going with this. But they also brought back a lot of the shit from the old series, too, but build it up and stuff. So, yeah, if they could do, like, a cool mixture of both heavily leaning towards the new series, I would love that shit. But I'll be honest, I don't think Rocksteady or Naughty Dog would be qualified to make any of these 80s cartoons because they always make kind of serious, even though I know Uncharted has, like, comedy and stuff, it's still more leaning on the serious side. These cartoons should just be kind of.
I have one that they would be great at.
All right, go for it. What's up?
Gargoyles, done in the style of Arkham.
This is, he said 90s. That's a great fucking dude. Hold on, I gotta control myself because I'm thinking about it. Rocksteady, Gargoyles. That would be game of the year. Game of the fucking year, dude. And I'm not even talking about altered Gargoyles. Like, have you watched Gargoyles recently? That shit still holds up.
Dude, that is odd. Like, that and the original Batman, that shit holds up.
Yes, it does, man. Because now you're older and you can appreciate it more. Yeah. It's like, fucking great.
I still go back and watch the Batman animated series. I was like, why are we doing more of this? Like, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Like, whoever's making the Batman movies needs to come back and watch this shit. Send Christopher Nolan like a fucking a copy of this Batman, because just something went wrong. I don't know what wrong. Something went wrong.
Yeah, I think, Brett, you have the answer of the night, man. Gargoyles by fucking Rocksteady. Give me that shit right now, man.
Oh, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I want to play this game. Like, I want to fold my wings up and like climb to the top of a building and look over a cityscape and then launch off and like unhook them and glide around and punch some people in some robot suits. I want to
bring it back a little
gargoyle.
bit. We've played Mass Effect where Keith David is in it. Now you're gonna play a game where he is the main guy. He is Goliath. You have to play as Keith David Goliath. Give me this fucking game right now. Right now, man. All right, Chris, what do you say?
Well, it's tough. There's a lot of possibilities here. I mean, you already went back to Batman the Animated Series, so wouldn't it make sense to let Rocksteady make a Batman the Animated Series game?
Yeah, there
like
you go.
Fully skinned and realized, like with all the characters and all and the way Gotham City looked in the original Bruce Timm designs.
Oh, that'd be so good.
I found the Rocksteady Batman games to be like a continuation of that series, especially because they had the same actors and the same writers, Paul Dini. So it felt like, hey, this is adult version of that. So imagine if they went back to the real source of it. That would be insane, man. Ooh, man, that's a good one.
I'm looking at this list and stuff, and I don't know. I'm kind of sick of seeing Scooby Doo. I don't even know how that show persists.
I hate it. Yeah.
And that technically is a '60s cartoon that just keeps going.
Yeah, but any cartoon, even if it's not, dude. Hold on, and I got to control myself now. Dinosaurs. Imagine, dude, dinosaurs.
I mean, I think he missed the obvious one here. I don't think G.I. Joe has ever had a decent game, or any game that I can remember.
Oh, they've had games. They had that shitty movie game, like that hip hop game, a 10 out of 11 out of, I don't know.
Yeah. Like that's an 80s staple. I would like to see a well done G.I. Joe game. But I don't know if either of these studios would be able to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the Gargoyles answer was good. I would say give Rocksteady, let them make a Batman the Animated Series game.
Yes.
With fully realized, like the cartoon, everything. Like you get, obviously you get Kevin Conroy back. You get everybody back.
Dinosaur. Man, we're gonna talk about '80s cartoons now, man. The real shit.
I don't know how you make a game out of that.
Dude, Cops would be
skateboarding game.
Yeah, dude, Cops. Imagine that. That would be cool, man.
I have the DVD set of Cops.
Yes.
Actually. I loved that show as a kid. I probably couldn't watch it now, but
He-Man, Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Because, okay, I mean, real Ghostbusters, that would be interesting. That would be like another chance to get Ghostbusters the game right.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, do those count? Because, like, Spider-Man would be a great Rocksteady game, but, like, at this point, we're just talking about them making a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, exactly.
Or them making an X-Men game. Or them making a Ghostbusters game, which I'd love, but I'm pretty sure Ghostbusters is this close to being dead to me, so...
Yeah. All right,
I mean, there's other shows like Centurions.
Man. Yeah, oh, man. Thundar, that's an 80s cartoon.
Yeah, Thundar.
He-Man!
He-Man, exactly. Brian, what do you say, man? 80s or 90s?
You guys pretty much just covered like most of them. Ideally, I would like to see like a X-Men animated cartoon game. I think that would be cool. But that's about it.
Yeah, here's the thing about that, because we were just talking about, like, hey, wouldn't they just be making a Spider-Man game? They already did an X-Men animated comic. They could do a game too, just with that feel and shit. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. I think. Since then, I haven't seen any rendition of X-Men that's been as captivating. So
agreed.
I guess that's like the unsung best version. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, because they had what did we have? We had X-Men Academy or something, and X-Men Apocalypse or whatever.
Those X-Men was like Wolverine and the X-Men, which was
Wolverine
alright. Oh, it
was okay. It was okay. Yeah. There was the one before it, the one where they were all teenagers.
X-Men Unlimited, or was that Justice League?
Something like that. No, it wasn't. Yeah. What's up?
I know this is late '90s, but I'm pretty sure Chris will agree with me. I'd like to actually play a Teen Titans game.
That would be cool.
Yeah, no, I would like that.
Oh,
In that
Brett,
style, yeah.
Brett, just so you know, it's the current Teen Titans that are weirding me out. I love that old school one, that '90s one. That was a good
Yeah, no, that's what
cartoon.
I'm talking about. That was an
Yeah,
awesome show.
it really was. Yeah, it really was. I'm with you on that one.
And I
But
would totally
again,
like to that'd be a fun pool of superpowers to play around with, right? Like if you could switch between characters.
but definitely, I don't think either of these studios would be cut for that, but it would be pretty interesting for sure. All right, moving on here. This is a good question. What console or company made NPD such a big factor? It seems like when companies do bad sales-wise, they and their fanboys have to go into hiding. I think the NPD should be considered stupid to gamers. It doesn't affect my fun or happiness in life like it does some other individuals. Who made the NPD such a big deal? The industry, dude. That's what made it a
I can
big
answer
deal.
this. I can
Okay,
answer this.
Yeah, go
It
ahead,
was
man.
fucking Microsoft. It was Microsoft.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
You sons of bitches, it was Microsoft. And it was Microsoft because it was their whole goddamn marketing ploy to flex the amount of numbers that they have so they could flex the amount of systems that they have in use and talk about the environment in which all the gamers are playing. It's the thing that all your friends are playing. Look how many people have Xboxes. Look how many Xboxes we sold. Microsoft started this shit. They're the ones that did it. And now they're all like, why do we have to talk about sales numbers?
Damn it, Brett. I didn't think about that, but you're right. I never even heard of NPDs before last generation. Never even heard of them. Last gen, it was NPDs all day, every day. And yeah, you're right, Microsoft. Like, look how many numbers we have. Look how many people we sold to. All this shit. And this relates to our final question. Man, I can't wait to answer that one. I can't argue with that. Microsoft started it. Blame it on Microsoft. All right. Unless somebody else has a different answer, but I don't think we do. Next up, or final question here, speaking about Microsoft. The last two questions are both about Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft, Aaron Greenberg recently made the comment that Halo is the Star Wars of video games. Do you agree with this statement? And do you think Halo will outsell Star Wars Battlefront this holiday? The two are going head to head.
No, I think Battlefront is the Star Wars.
Yeah, I think if you're making a Star Wars game, that's the Star Wars of games. Like, that's
it is a Star Wars game, and the Star Wars game.
Let's be honest. Star Wars Battlefront. Okay, let's pull it back a little bit. Halo, not doing as well as people thought, and people are kind of like, "What is up with this game?" The name recognition is not, carrying it anymore. People aren't buying it like they used to. Here, remember when Halo used to come out and used to tell you those sales numbers right away? I'm not hearing nothing. So you have that. You have the enthusiasm for Halo is not as what it used to be. Then you have Star Wars. People are going fucking crazy for Star Wars, and Star Wars is on 3 systems technically. They're on PC too. I think the obvious answer is Star Wars. Star Wars is going to blow Halo out the water. Halo is not going to be selling 7 million by the end of this year.
Yeah.
Star Wars could conceivably sell 10 million or more by the end of this year.
Yeah,
Easily.
keep in mind, it's not just Star Wars. This is Battlefield Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and the return of Battlefront too.
Or
The return of
Battlefront.
yeah.
Yeah. This is Battlefront. So this is one of the most lucrative franchises in history, pairing up with another one of the most lucrative franchises in history, and then covering the whole thing with money and a hefty dosage of nostalgia sprinkles. Like, you could not get a more manufactured hype machine if you built something to just jerk itself off. Like, there is no way, and I assume that's what you mean, like the Star Wars of video games, in the sense that it is the juggernaut, it is the biggest name recognition, it is the most hype. So yeah, like in every sense, Star Wars is the Star Wars of video games.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid when you're going head to head with a Star Wars game to say that I have the Star Wars video games. That's like saying, like, I'm the Tony of this podcast. Like,
yeah, it's like, no, you're not. I'm kind of him. I'm kind of that guy. But Brett, I want to touch on what you said, because you said you couldn't manufacture something more than this. What about that other game we were talking about that's heavily manufactured to be a success?
Okay, see, that was like grown in a lab. Like, I'm talking about, like, they have hit all the boxes with the Star Wars game. They're like one of the most lucrative franchises in history, video game history. Check. One of the most well-known video game franchises in history. Check. Is this franchise due for a reboot around this time? Check.
Is there a very popular movie coming out soon?
Is there a very popular movie coming along with it? Check. Is this the classic return sharing the namesake of one of the most beloved games of all time? Oh, also fucking check. Like, is it holiday season? Fucking check.
Dude,
like
yeah, exactly.
everything, like every box, like it is. They've gone through with a list and been like, you know, I think we need more multiplayer, or I think we need more skins, or we need like it doesn't fucking matter. Like this game by its very nature is a behemoth. It's if a Titan has sex with a Titan and gets pregnant, the thing it makes is a fucking Titan. There is no way around it. This thing is, if it's built entirely out of mech parts, it's probably a fucking mech. Like you're gonna end up with a giant fucking robot. That's just the way that it goes. The thing is built out of nothing but huge industry-leading names, huge industry-leading heritage, and money. Like there's no way that this is not going to be a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly. Chris,
the fact that we all know that it's going to be a huge deal makes it a bigger fucking deal.
Exactly. It's just self-perpetuating at this point, you know? Chris, get in here, man. I know you got some thoughts.
Well, like I said, the last Halo game I was excited about and that I played like fervorously was Reach. You know, like ever since and I don't care what the Halo fans say about it. Ever since Bungie left that franchise, it has gone downhill. And this game just proves it. Like Richard gave it all to us in the last show. He laid it all out. It's just kind of disappointing. And you know what? I love Halo, and I bought that game, you know, as soon as I could get my hands on it. But everything I heard is just disappointing. This is not, and it's and it's exclusive. You made the point. Battlefront is everywhere. It's also Star Wars. It's also nostalgia. It hits everything. I think EA already bragged about the freaking pre-orders for that game.
Yep.
It was like astronomical. So to think that Halo is going to beat Battlefront, or even I don't even know where he came up with we have the Star Wars of video games when you have a video game based on Star Wars coming out. That's like the dumbest thing to say. I don't even understand it. But
to be fair, this statement was made years ago.
Oh, it's an old statement. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that now you have to put those words into context right now because you're going literally up against Star Wars.
Yeah, literally, exactly.
And I think EA's just clinched it with everything. They clinched it with the nostalgia. They clinched it with a movie tie-in. They clinched it with Battlefield. Like, there's just so many things going right for that game that it's multiplat.
Yeah.
You don't see how you're gonna fucking beat it.
Yeah, it's like, again, going back to the sales numbers, right? We heard a certain someone talk about how, Halo's going to sell 7 million by the end of the year. Going back to what I said a couple minutes ago, Star Wars is probably going to sell 10 million by the end of this year. It's going to be fucking huge. I mean, I'm probably being conservative with that number, by the way. It's going to be massive, man. Brian, what do you say?
Yes and no to some of the stuff being said here. Yes, no. Halo will not outsell Star Wars simply because, one, are you crazy? Like, it's Star Wars. It's on like every single platform that counts. Sorry, Wii U, but it is. Yeah, it's Star Wars. It has that namesake. It has the movie coming out. It has a decent pedigree behind it, and plus EA have been advertising it up the arsehole. So it will sell just simply because on that, and it will sell more because just like you rarely get single platform exclusives outselling multiplats because of the nature of multiplats in general. There's just a larger fan base. Like, how many Xbox Ones are there? Like 15.
Yeah, about 15 million here. About 15 million.
Yeah. Even that is like, come on. Like compared to 25 million PS4s, plus
15 million Xboxes too.
Yeah, so that's like 40 million plus how many PCs? Let's say extra 50 million just for shit's sake. That's still like far more than Xbox One. So namesake alone, or just numbers alone, it will win. But I don't think it will sell that many copies, as you said, Tony. Like maybe it's reach 5 million by the end of the year. Like,
why is that? 'Cause I really think this can sell huge numbers.
Because of Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 came out and it wasn't that great, and it came out in like a broken mess. And this game is online only, so and plus the beta left people kind of like like a hit and miss. Like me, I'm not going to buy it simply because I just don't like it now. So I've gone from I'll get it and it looks cool to no, no thanks, I'll move on.
You really think Battlefield's going to affect it? I didn't think about that, but you may have a point there. Do you think the audience is different? Because remember, this is mainstream buying to this game.
The same thing that was said about Halo. It's just it's like the stigma that DICE now have with online games has been tarnished thanks to Battlefield 4. And I think that may be enough to sway majority of people that will sway other people. Because like all the big YouTubers will possibly, well, anyone that plays like Battlefield 4 like on YouTube have been saying, okay, the game's broken, blah 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 blah, and then that goes out into like their fan base who tell their friends and all sorts. So it's not a large group of people, but it's still a decent amount of people, and I think that is enough to tarnish a perceivable amount. But in terms of mainstream media, I don't think so. Okay, in terms of like the mainstream, then it won't really have too much of an effect since they don't know their arse from the elbows. So
yeah, I mean, did these guys really know that Battlefront is just a Battlefield with like we've been saying, it's Battlefield with a Star Wars skin on it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think a lot of guys realize that.
No, they don't. Like Star Wars, man.
Yeah, they just see the Star Wars and it's just like, oh wow, I get to fly an X-wing.
No, this is exactly why I'm excited for it. I think there are a lot of people that are wanting to try out the mechanics that Battlefield has refined over the last decade, but aren't necessarily super into the idea of a hyper-realistic military shooter. Like I'm one of them. Like my dad was like a war history buff, so I grew up kind of mired in World War I, and so I had no desire to play in a video game, and so like I've enjoyed it as they've been going more towards the modern era, but even then I'm like, okay, great, fucking terrorists, that's cool, like okay, future terrorists, woo, we have helicopters now. Like now they've moved it firmly into a territory that I know and love, and so I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Now color me interested, and I can't imagine I'm the only person like that. And they're moving away from the whole Call of Duty bruh kind of crowd, and utilizing a lot of assets that are still incredibly viable assets, but moving away from well, let's just fucking call a spade a spade. They're moving a little bit more towards an older crowd. Because a lot of the built-in fan base for Star Wars are at least old enough to remember the last set of Star Wars movies, so they're not aiming as much for the 14-year-old crowd as they used to.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah, Star Wars is gonna be a fucking beast, man. So yeah, it's not gonna outsell Halo. It's on 3 fucking systems, dude. Come on.
No,
all right.
I mean, even it's something guaranteed to be at least kind of awesome and new versus another iteration of something old.
Exactly. All right. Before we go to the last question, since Chris, you joined us, and since this episode is like an hour and 10 minutes long so far, we're gonna have you actually answer all the questions you missed.
Okay.
All right. So let's just run through them and stuff. The first question is by Final Stage Boss. He basically he goes, how would Microsoft's original strategy, with the whole 24-hour check-in, use games, the original strategy, for Xbox One, how would that have been good for gamers?
It wouldn't have been good for gamers. I don't see how that whole online 24/7 DRM system is good for anyone. It would have forced people to be online all the time. I don't know about that perk that they had with the 10 family members sharing Xbox Live. I don't know how that was going to work. And also, with the quality of internet that everyone has and licensing, if you lose power, you lose internet for a day. That means you're not gaming, right? Yep. Or remember, both Xbox Live and PSN have been hacked. Like Lizard Squad hacked them or whatever. What happens then? You can't game at all. They don't think about this stuff before they say it and try to implement it, right? Like we don't have an infrastructure that's like South Korea, Japan, where internet is like golden, and you could literally do this. But even if you do it, like, I want to borrow a game from a buddy or rent a game or whatever. You can't do that. They would have shut down GameStop right there because I don't know what GameStop would do about this. I think they would suffer just as much or more. It's like, oh, guess what? Used games don't fucking work. So what are you gonna do now? I didn't think it was a good policy, and I don't like DRM to begin with. I think it's a shit policy, and yeah, I'm kind of glad this died.
Yeah, because you've heard a lot of these Microsoft guys. They're like, "Oh man, this would have been good for gamers if they just let us try it." It's like, really, guys, really? Oh man! All right, and the next question was basically, how do you feel about games that have multiple actions mapped to one button? For example, in Metal Gear, you try to get into a Jeep, you Fulton it, shit like that. What do you feel about it?
It's inconvenient. I've done that multiple times where I've either gotten in something I wanted to Fulton or climbed into the truck when I wanted to Fulton it, or I wanted to get in to drive it and or the other way around, sorry. Like where I'm like, okay, I gotta drive, and it's like, there goes my Jeep. Okay, there goes a truck, you know. And in Dark Souls I've done the same thing because people leave symbols on the floor, and you got to hit triangle to either read it, or you also triangle to go from one-handed to two-handed. And very often, if I'm standing on a sign, that means I'm reading it, which means I might get killed in that second that the message pops up. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not two-handing my weapon anymore. I'm reading a note. So I kind of hate that, and I wish like there was a better way to map all that stuff. But there's only so many buttons on a controller, and either they start adding 50 million buttons, or a bride could be smiling right now and go, "Hey guys, if you had a keyboard, you wouldn't have this problem,"
Yeah,
you know. So it's like that's the other
yeah.
solution: play it on PC.
Chris,
You can
remember
hot map
the
anything you want.
yeah, Chris, remember the Atari Jaguar controller? You bring that back now with a
Oh, that
million
thing.
buttons.
Oh, that thing's a mess, though. That thing was a mess. Like fuck that.
Oh man. All right. And the next question here is, okay, remember how they used to have this thing called the Halo effect, where if Halo was coming out in this day, every game would get the fuck out the way. Do you think that's still happening now?
No. Absolutely not. Like that's not happening. Like I think Halo came out a little earlier to get out of the way of Battlefront and Fallout. To be honest
That's a
with you,
good point.
like it didn't. They did not put Halo squarely before Black Friday. It came out in October this time. Halo would normally be coming out right in that sweet spot a week or two before Black Friday at most, but it didn't. It came out
Damn.
like, oh, you're talking like 3 weeks, over 3 weeks before they pulled it a little ahead, you know? Why do you pull something a little ahead? You don't want it to compete with other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of flipped. They're kind of scared and they pulled it a little ahead of other stuff. So that, yeah, I think that effect is done.
That's a good point. I think about that. They pushed it ahead of stuff, you know? Oh man. All right. The next one here is, do you think that Sony is focusing more on VR than they did with the PlayStation Move, or will it flop like the Vita, Eye, Move, camera, touchpad, six axis, etc.?
I don't know what to think of PlayStation VR. Like, I love my Vita, and I know, like, I have to accept it that they did shit support for it. The Move was just shit to begin with. The Move was just copying the Wii. Anything you're gonna copy a gimmick, that's bad, right there. Like that was gonna die. Anybody could see that a mile away. Just like the PSP Go, anybody could see that a mile away. That was a bad move. Um, the other six axis, I don't know. That was all right. Like
You know what
I
six
liked
axis
it.
was about, though. It's
Yeah,
like, hey, we don't have VR, we don't have Rumble anymore.
they don't
But
have
we have
Rumble
six
anymore.
axis.
Yeah, that's all they had at the beginning. That was just a stopgap till they got DualShock back because of
Yeah.
the licensing. Um, the camera, that's a take or leave it thing. Actually, the camera is still doing really well for PS4, isn't it?
Yeah, the PS4 camera. Yeah, he's talking about the original PlayStation Eye. That was a fun.
Oh,
But he basically brings all these up because is that what's going to happen to PlayStation VR? Is it going to go the way of all that shit?
I don't think so. I think PlayStation VR is in the sweet spot where it's coming in, where everything VR is coming in, right? Like Oculus is coming in there, and it's setting up the next step in console gaming. It's coming in right at that point. It's not copying a gimmick. It's not like where the Move was following up the Wii motion controls, you know? That
Yeah.
was just a gimmick copy, you know? And the Vita, they dropped the ball on that. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, they had a handheld and that was killer and way better than the 3DS, and they just didn't market it. They didn't put any power behind it, right? So it failed. It's like putting a plant in the dark and not feeding it, you know? It's gonna die. You know? That's just the bottom line. With PlayStation VR, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they've invested too much time and money, and they're coming in at the right point for VR. So I think as long as they put muscle behind it and don't let it languish, I think it will do something.
Yeah, but the problem is, the same could be said for a lot of their other products if they would have put some behind it. You know?
Right. That just depends how much they're willing to back it. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
if they put it out, if it's just like the Vita, if they put it out there and they go, here's a couple games, have fun, and they don't talk about it again, then yeah, it'll be shit and it will die. And it'll just be added to that list of things you mentioned. You know, it's all about like get behind what you made. Like I'm sure that cost millions of freaking dollars to develop, and you're coming in the right spot of VR. So take a chance on it, you know, put some marketing behind it and make people want to play it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. What other post-launch character would you like to see Capcom bring to Street Fighter Five?
Ah, I don't know. I guess Abel from Street Fighter 4, I liked him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if he comes back. Let's see, Dan. Obviously, you gotta put Dan in there. Don't leave Dan out, man. Always put Dan in there.
Oh,
Uh,
man.
let's see. I'm not too much a fan of Hakan. He's just hilarious to see people play with him and just like put oil on themselves.
Wait, the oily dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
the oily guy. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's it. You don't have to name like a million characters. You only need one, so you give us
Yeah.
three. So that's pretty good. And then he was just wondering, Killax was why we didn't talk about the Star Wars trailer. He wanted our thoughts on it, and we basically we didn't talk about it because what else is there to say other than it's fucking awesome? We want to see it now. You know, we're all
Yeah.
excited for it, obviously.
I'm not even a Star Wars fan, and it's like, all right, I just want to see this movie. I'm tired of all this build up and all these it's just adding more questions. It's like Lost. I want answers now, so just give me the movie.
He also said this comment. It was about Brian, but you were in it. He goes, "I'm happy to see a black face back on the crew, other than Chris." Oh man. And Garita. Okay, you were ready for that. All right. All right. So the last question here from Michael. Microsoft said they won't be giving. Okay, this is funny. I'm going to read this nice and slow. Microsoft said they won't be giving their console sales numbers anymore, but instead will say how many Xbox Live users they have. How much longer until they tell us how many bullets were fired in Halo 5 or how many miles were driven in Forza 6? Oh man, yeah, it's like how low can you go, man? I mean, they pretty much conceded defeat. It's like, okay, we can't top Sony, we can't even match Sony. Let's talk about some other shit instead. Let's redirect the conversation. Let's talk about what we're actually good at. But yeah, funny question, but it is a serious thing because now Microsoft is like, we're not going to tell you our sales numbers because they're pretty bad. So we're going to talk about shit that actually makes us look good, which is our Xbox Live subscriptions. And I won't be surprised if they do put out Halo Bullet things. I mean, every company does that shit, at one point or another, just for fun infographics and all that. What do you guys say?
I don't know if they'll stoop lower than that, but I think it's weird. I know they want to change the conversation because they know they're not doing well against Sony, but it's an odd thing to talk about. It's like, let's talk about our Xbox Live subscription numbers. It's like, but you had the previous gen, you had tons of subscribers. You have carryover from that, so that's kind of an odd metric to use. That has nothing really to do with this generation. You have two generations of systems that you have people on there, So it's kind of weird to switch to that metric, and especially Brett pointed out, you're the guys who brought up console sales in the first place. I made it a thing, and now you're like, no, we're just going to talk about subscribers now. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, by the way, I should point out that before they started talking about Xbox Live sales, they started combining both Xbox and Xbox One, Xbox 360 numbers. That was the first thing, because when this generation started, they didn't really talk about their sales numbers, even though they talked about them all the time last generation. Then they got to be, hey, let's talk about combined Xbox sales. Now it's Xbox Live subscription sales. This goes back to why Michael's asking this question. How much lower are they going to go?
Well, it depends. When they're Xbox Live, I would say when the Xbox Live subscription total drops below the total amount of PlayStation 4 sold. So when they're able to say, we've sold blank million PlayStations, and Microsoft can only say we have, 900,000 active Xbox subscribers, that's when they'll start moving the goalpost. And I find it hilarious and tragic that he says it that way, because that is probably exactly the way that they'll put it. Like, this many bullets fired, this many miles driven, this many hours played by hardcore gamers.
With that same voice too. Oh man. By the way, I need to cut in real quick. Congratulations to the Kansas City Royals, man.
Oh.
Oh man. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, so it's going to be interesting what other numbers Microsoft are going to throw at us. Numbers that don't really matter. Oh man, all right. I don't know. Oh, yeah. So this week on Throwdown, we're going to be talking about the Fallout. So expect a lot of talking about that. I know, Brett, you're excited for that. We'll see how broken it is or not, because this is Bethesda.
I don't even care. Don't even care, man.
Hey Chris, are you buying
this
it?
week?
Yeah, it's coming out. On Tuesday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, admittedly, I after the E3, after Microsoft's conference, I pre-ordered the Pip-Boy edition.
I'm so mad I couldn't get one of those.
I did it, dude. I did it right after the conference. As soon as they announced it, I'm like, that shit is gonna sell out in minutes. So I was like, boom, let me just get this, And I kind of wish I gotten the PS4 version, but I was all caught up in the hype, and I just ordered the Xbox One. I'm like, go, and I got it, and then it was too late to go back and switch it, but I got it for Xbox, so I'm happy.
All right, so at least 3 out of 5 of us will talk about this game. So that's gonna...
it's this week?
Yeah,
this is the 10th.
Wait, I thought it was coming out the 10th.
No, it's coming out the 4th. Am I wrong? Because I thought it was the 4th.
I'm looking up now, and it says the 10th.
Yeah, it's the 10th. They've been playing the ads all during the World Series.
Oh shit! I thought it was the 4th.
Yeah, it's the 10th.
Wait a minute. When is Tomb Raider coming out? Because isn't that the same day?
Let me check again, but I'm pretty sure Fallout 4 is the 10th.
I'm gonna check right now.
I'm almost positive it's the 10th.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you guys, but I really thought it was this week. Yeah, you're right. November 10th. Look at that. Okay, I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about this week on Throwdown. Then, never mind. Disregard everything I just said. But we will be talking about Fallout, so expect that. I know why I was thinking that, because journalists are getting the game now, so that's why. Okay, that's why. I'll tell you guys some shit off here. All right. So that is it. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section on the Coalition or on YouTube. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown, SoundCloud, iTunes, and the YouTubes. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and I was joined by Brett Murdoch.
See you later, people.
Chris Seeley.
Oh, I have a final thought.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so wait, hold on. Brian Manjoma.
Oh, Need for Speed Most Wanted came out in 2012.
2012. All right. Chris finishes off.
Okay. I had to make a decision because both my Xbox Live and my PSN Plus came renewed on the same day, and all right, I know the Xbox are gonna hate me, but I have a little money. Money's tight for me, and I had to make a decision. And I play right now. I'm doing up Dark Souls 2 with Brett. I'm playing online on PS4 way more, so I had to get one. I re-up my PS Plus. I'm back on silver until I get some money to go gold. So Xbox, don't count those numbers because it's -1 right now until.
Oh shit! Yeah, and there you go, Chris Seeley.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
All right, guys. Later.
Real quick,
go ahead, Brett.
I want to throw this out there on the Fallout note. Apparently, Jones Soda. Have any of you ever had Jones Soda?
No.
No.
you guys are missing out. It's fucking delicious, but it might be a Midwest kind of thing. They are rebranding their berry lemonade, which is my favorite flavor of their soda, into Nuka-Cola Quantum soda for a limited time to coincide with the Fallout 4 release.
Dude, buy a crate of that shit and keep it.
I kind of plan on it.
Yes.
That is so awesome.
Awesome. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.
There, people.
Deuces.
Peace.